Okay, so we're on page 4 of your notes. And your notes really are only those 2 pages. And then the next 2 page, like the page and a half, is your homework. So hopefully we can get to some of those questions together. But today we're going to talk about volume on page 4 of your notes down at the bottom where it says lesson 11.2. And it has the formula and this picture down at the bottom. You've done volume before, and you've done them of rectangle prisms. The formula you have learned is that, volume equals length times width times height. And because you're multiplying the 3 dimensions, that's why it's a 3D shape, because it has a length, a width, and a height. But that only works for a rectangular prism. This is only for a rectangle. But the formula I'm going to share with you works for every shape that we're going to do this year. So, because we're going to do some of those other prisms. So, it's the area, bless you, of base, known as B, because that's what we've been using it as, right? Times the height, which is just H. The area of the base that you are used to is this length times width part, right? Because if you look at this base down here, it's got a length of, there's one under there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3. Length times width is 3 by 5, which would be 15 times a height of 1, 2, 3, 4. 60. Okay? That's your volume. When you are finding volume, what you are doing is you are figuring out how many of those little cubes can lay flat on the base of the shape and how many bases can you stack on top, and that's your height. So that's what we're going to do here for a second. I passed out those little tiny little cubes. Y'all see the little bag of cubes I passed out to you? Okay, and I passed out some different shapes. Some of y'all's shapes are little trays. Some of your shapes are containers. But the person you're sitting next to, y'all can share your shapes. But you've got these little containers. Some of you've got these little containers right here. What I want you to do is basically mimic this shape right here. If you have enough pieces, see if you can line the bottom, your base, with the little cube. And see how many it would take. And then calculate how many heights it would take, how many of the bases it would take to fill it. So y'all two can do that one. Do that one. There's your cubes. You can split your cubes if you want to. Oh, no, I just dropped one. Alright, so do that. So kind of like that, yeah. How many wide, how many long, and how tall would it be? How many, you're trying to figure out how many little cubes would it take to fill your container. Not these little things, these things. Because they don't, I wanted them to go in those, but they would have to be like half shapes. They won't work. And that's why, yeah, that's why you get those things. Yeah, get those containers. My plan didn't work out exactly how I wanted. Make sure you just count how many you have. You're not building that shape, you're lining this shape.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay, Josie, we're at 2 with all this added together.
Don't you feel like you're in pre-K doing those busy bins that they used to have in pre-K, building blocks?
You're not reminding me of this. I was pretty good. It worked.
I'm sure it does. Did y'all figure it out? So how many little cubes, what's your
I was helping.
I know what my sister anyway.
So what we doing? 23 by 8. Tell me how many. So it's 184 of these little cubes.
Okay, go.
And how many layers? Okay, so it takes 6 layers of this.
Or Jamal.
Where are we going?
So that's how we get the formula. How many little cubes will it take for your pre-K?
I went to Savannah. I know.
So, how long is it? 8. So how many total cubes would it take? Your height's gonna tell you how many layers of that you can put. 6 cubes, like 6 layers. So, I'm gonna do 184 6 times, so 184 times 6. That's how many of those cubes are there. That's also why it's called community volume in inches. Cubes, because you have to do those.
I was doing
How long is your project? Alright, so how much weight do we take to do the bottom? Alright, so 78, and how many layers of 78? How many, how high is it? Alright, so 78, 6 times is 460 of tape. How many 68 cubes will? Wait.
Yeah, but it's not.
You were supposed to do the width and the height, like that picture.
It's like half a cube.
Whatever it is.
I mean, we already got the
Alright, about 2 more minutes. So how long is it? It is very expensive. So 19 long and how wide? So how many cubes would it take just to cover the bottom?
It's like a metaphor.
If you weren't ready, you should get a 0 today for your word habits, child. What y'all think?
That's not right. That's not right.
19 by how wide?
Alright, so 76. Take 76 to cover the bottom.
Those times 19.
How many layers would it take?
76.
So what's 76 times?
Alright, so it takes 76 cubes to cover the bottom. How many layers of 76? That's what your height's telling me. So what's 76 by 4? So it would take 304
Cubes to fill this container. Alright,
And then how many layers of 76? Four is your height, right? So it's 76, 76, 76, 76. So you can do 76 So you found the area of the base. Times the height. The height tells you how many layers of the base you need. So that So yeah, you should have 304. Y'all should get roughly 400. All right, you go ahead and put your little cubes back in your containers or back in your bag. So I had the conversation with Tristan and Michaela, but the reason volume is measured, I lost my wand again. No, it's over here. Volume is measured in units cubed, not squared. Area is squared. Volume is cubed. The reason it's cubed is because you're packing the inside with little mini 1 by 1 cubes, just like you did. Does that make sense? Did you even hear what I was saying, or y'all were putting your stuff up? I know some of us can't multitask. Put your cubes up and then I'll quit talking. Alright. So, like I said, the reason it is cubed is because you're packing whatever shape it is with miniature little cubes. So volume is on the inside. How much can you pack in? Okay, it's called capacity. How much can it hold? Okay, how many little cubes can it hold? So we talked about, this is the volume formula for a parallelogram or rectangle. What if I'm finding the volume that has a triangle? Okay? Well, I'm going to, instead of base times height, my base, the area of my base, what's the formula for a triangle? The area of a triangle. What's the formula for the area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height, or base times height. So you would need to do this first and then multiply it by the height of the prism. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. All right, so moving on, let's practice some of these. Right off the bat, we have a tent. What is the shape of my base going to be just looking at this? Triangle. Remember when we labeled them on your shapes, these are the two bases, there's only going to be two, are the triangles. The triangles are wrapped in rectangles. That's your lateral surface area. So let's highlight our base first. Before we do anything, let's just go ahead and highlight our base. Our base are those triangles. And there it would be in the back as well, right? We just can't see it. Where would the height be?
6.
That's 6 because it connects the two bases. We just can't see the other base in the back of the tent. We want to find the volume. So we need to know what is the volume formula. Well, volume equals the area of the base times the height. Well, since the tent is shaped like a prism, the base of the prism is a triangle. Write an expression for the area of the base. Well, if my base is a triangle, then what formula am I going to use for the base? If I'm finding the area of the base, and it's a triangle, you don't have to guess. You should have your formula sheet out on your desk because it was part of your requirement to have out. You go to area. Oh, what's the shape? It is a triangle. I'm going to write down 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to plug that at 1/2. What's the base of my triangle here? 4. This is the base of the triangle. What's the height of my triangle?
5.
This is the height of the triangle. So 1/2, 4 times 5, which equals what? What's 1/2 times 4 times 5? Well, half of 4 is 2, and 2 times 5 is 10. What is the length of the tent here? How long is the tent? It's 6 feet, which is also representing our height. So if we were to plug this into the volume formula, we had 1/2, 4 by 5, that's the base. Our height was 6. Well, we found out that this was 10 already, so what's 10 times 6?
It's 60.
60 feet. Notice it's cubes. So we could stack 60 little cubes that measure 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot into the tent. Volume is easier than surface area in my opinion. But that's just me. A hexagonal prism has a volume of 60 cube centimeters. That's important. The volume of 60. So we already know what here about this shape?
The volume.
We already know the volume. The hexagonal base has an area of 12. What do we know now? The area of the base is 12. What's missing from here? Height. It says find the height. So the base of the prism is a hexagon. If we're talking about volume, we're going to use the volume formula, right? And it tells you the volume formula on your, if you look down there, it says volume of right prism or cylinder. And it tells you it's either area of the base times the height, or V equals BH. You don't even have to have it memorized. It's there. We're going to substitute what we know. We know the volume is what? 60. I know the area of the base is, so what do we need to solve for? When we solve, according to your brain dump, when we solve, we do PIIB. You pivot. So if I have 60 equals 12h, I'm going to part the waters like Moses do. Isolate the variable. Do the inverse. And balance on both sides. So what are they currently doing? So we need to... Why are we not all writing this down, Mason? Oop, not 16, 12. Not 16, 12. So 60 divided by 12 gives me... So our height for this prism is 5. And that's it. You were doing the same thing with circles, but it was not, I don't think it was registering with you that you're just solving an equation when you plug it in. Okay? You're just solving an equation. Alright, so now we're in your homework part. We got 10 minutes, so maybe we'll get done through a lot of it. Alright. A rectangular sandbox. A what shape?
Rectangular.
Rectangular. So if it's a rectangle, does it matter what order we multiply things in? No. Okay? Measures 4 feet by 7 feet by 2 feet. Here's your length. Here's your width. Here's your height. How many cubic feet of sand can the sandbox hold? This right here, cubic and hold, should be flashing warning signs that you are finding the volume. Does it say find the volume in here? No. And it may not. You have to know that volume is cubic. That's why we packed it with cubes, so that maybe you'll remember that you're packing it with cubes. Cubic and hold are signs that we're talking about finding the volume. So volume is the area of the base times the height. Well, what shape are we dealing with? A rectangle. How do I find the area of a rectangle? So I need my length times my width times my height, which is 4 times 12 times 2. So 4 times, sorry, what did I say, 12? 4 times 7 times 2. No wonder y'all were looking at me like I was crazy. 56. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 times 2 gives me 56 feet cubed. Cubed, not squared, cubed. Alright, a triangular prism. A what shape? Triangular. So triangular is 1/2 base times height. Go ahead and write it so you don't forget it. Has a base length. The base is 1.5. And the height of the triangle is 3. The height of the prism is 12. This straight up says find the volume of the prism. So volume equals base times the area of the base times the height of the prism. What's my shape? A triangle. So this is my B part, which is 1/2 the base of the triangle, base of the height. What was the base of my triangle?
1.5.
It's so much easier if you will highlight or underline it as you read it to go back and be able to find it. What's the height of my triangle?
12. No, 3.
Say you're doing it too. Alright, so what does that end up being?
2.25.
2.25?
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know how I got 4.5 when I did it the first time. Alright, 2.25. And then your little height for the prism was 12. So put those two things together. 2.25 times 12, which gives you 24. Is that what I heard? 27. 27 centimeters cubed. Part B says a pentagonal prism, or what shape? Pentagonal. Has a volume, has the same volume as the triangular prism in part A. Okay, so their volume, what is the volume going to be? If it's the same as we found in part A, what's the volume?
27.
Alright, it's 27. Its base has an area of 4.5. So the base area is 4.5. Find the height. This is what's missing. So if I'm talking about volume, I'm thinking about this formula, right?
Mhm.
What do we know? Volume, so we can substitute the V with 27. What else do we know? The base is 4.5. What are we missing? Find its height. So we need to solve, right? And if we solve, we need to pivot. So part the waters, isolate, do the inverse, and then balance. And what is your height end up being? 6. Leah is filling a cube-shaped box with packing material and gift items. What's important in there? Cube-shaped box. What do we know about cubes? It's all the same, right? And if we're packing something, and we're filling something, packing and filling, we're talking about volume. Each edge of the box is 20 inches. What is the volume going to be? Well, volume equals area of the base times the height. Well, what's the shape of my base? If it's a cube, my base is a square. How do I find the area of a square? Length times width. Well, what's the length and the width of the cube? 20 by 20. Which gives me 400. What's the height of my cube? 20, because it's a cube and they're all the same, right? So then I can fill that in. Volume equals 400 times 20 gives me 8,000. Where are we measuring this in? Inches cubed. All right, you want to do this triangle one together before you go?
Sure.
Okay. Then we'll have your homework halfway done. A triangular prism has the dimensions shown. What is the length x if its volume is this and cubic feet? So if we're talking about volume and we're talking about triangles 1/2 base times height, or your base times height divided by 2, whichever you decide. What's the formula for volume? Start with your volume formula. I'm going to need the area of the B, and I'm going to need the height. Well, my B is a triangle, right?
Which is 1/2 times base times height.
What's missing here is the what part? We have the height of the triangle. Do you see where they're here? So we have 1/2. We're missing the base, but we have a height of 3. If I combine like terms, what's half of 3? 1.5 B is what we're working with, right? The height of my triangle, or of my prism, I'm sorry, is 12, because notice it connects. There's the tip of the base, there's the tip of the base. It connects the two, so it is 12. So if I fill in what I know, the volume is 72. My area of my base is 1.5 B times 12. Combine your like terms, 1.5 times 12. So we have 9B equals 72. If we solve, we have to pivot. Part, isolate, do the inverse. 72 divided by 9 is, so the height is 8. The other one should be pretty easy for you guys. All right. Good work, good work.